What's happening, everyone? Been a while since doing updates. Had a bunch of other stuff going on. Been working on. I've got an older truck that I work on a lot, so been doing that. But this is one of the things that I started on. I actually weathered this up. It's pretty subtle, maybe hard to tell, but it is. I actually pulled up the rail photos and weathered it how this unit looks now. So did a wash on it for the entire body and then just airbrushed the trucks. Came out the way I wanted it to look. The other thing I've been working on is this section over here. It got the styrene all laid down in the configuration that I want. Just painted it, so you can actually see the shiny spots here. The paint still drying. I just got to stripe it. I'll fade it so that it'll match here, and put all the lines and such. The other thing I did that that really helped a lot was, because this is out in the garage, the entire thing shifts constantly, and when I put these lights through, they were holding up the entire sheet of styrene, and it was plugging it up. So what I did was, hopefully you can see that, there's a oversized hole down there, and then a styrene tube that's drilled in. And what that does is it allows this piece to slide down into the white piece down there, and then the rest of the styrene floats on the top. So that way, as you can see when you insert this, the pole's actually not making contact with anything underneath other than that styrene piece. And that's helped greatly throughout the section. Also, it helps too that if you bump these, they just kind of spin around. The other thing I made was this dumpster enclosure over here. And I actually got my dumpsters in there. Probably need to rearrange them. So I got a cricut cutter. So I start making stuff with that and using styrene. Not overly impressed with it, because the cuts seem to have rounded corners and everything else. Here's another on the narrow gauge. This is another one that I made with the cricut cutter. Designed it completely using their software, cut it out. I tried making the pre-cut sides or the trim, and that just didn't work out. The cricut cutter just can't cut deep enough, and it just kind of scores the surface, and then you end up having to snap it like regular styrene. So I don't know if it's any quicker than just laying it out and measuring it. I mean, you're able to score it so that way they're equal. So, and that's how I built this. One of the other ones that I did, kind of dark part of the layout, but I actually weathered this car as well. This one was, I believe I used a bunch of the Vallejo. I bought a weathering set with it, and it had all the different colors in it. So I put a couple different rust colors down there, and then all the different colors along there. I also put a wash over it, a Vallejo wash, rubbed it off, and then I believe I put a dull coat on it. Let's see. So I've talked about them in my other video, but these are actual cars. There are 3 of them. They're the Grant Line products. They're the older kits, but I got them cheap on eBay. So up close, this is what they look like. They're really nice. I can get my camera to focus. A lot of parts to them, but once you build one, you kind of get the sense of how the rest of the kits go together. As you can see, I mean, they got the full underbody detail. I mean, they're just like the Blackstone kits. If I can get this thing to focus in. And I just left the interior primed. Because I've seen photos of the Blackstone ones, and they seem to have either the tan or the primed interior. Since I primed these ones anyways, they were black plastic kits. I just left it primed. And if I need to, I can go back and spray it or put loads in them. But at first I didn't like building them. They were a lot of work, but after building one or two of them, they've gone together pretty good. And they're actually kind of fun to build, and I can get them down pretty quick. So like I said before, I got a Cricut cutter, and part of that is I've been wanting to make a actual switch panel for my my narrow gauge. I finished putting all the tortoises in, except for this switch down here because I have to use one of the remote switch kits, and I just haven't bought it. But this was clear plastic, and what I did was I used a Cricut cutter, designed an outline, and I did it in a negative, put it on here, and I believe I sprayed the black first, so everything's painted from the backside, so nothing can scratch the front surface. So I painted the black first, and then peeled it off, and then I sprayed it with white, and then that gave the lines and the Rio Grande. And then I bought these toggle switches. I think I got them from my local electronics store, just Fry's, and then I wired them to the there's two contact points on the actual tortoise machine that will give you your outputs here for your lights. So you can see once it switches, it'll dim and then it'll go bright. And then that gives a status of where the train is switched over to. I think I should have the train on that one. So I also have, like I said before in my previous video, I've got the Switch It Mark 8, and then when I use the panel here, and then this is the button board, and what that does is it allows you to use regular switches on a panel with the Mark 8. One thing I did find out that you need to use momentary. Well, you can use either momentary or non-momentary, but they have to be. I can't think if it was either. Had to be. There's something about the switch I can't remember at the top of my head. So there's only a certain type of switch that you can use with the button board. I think it had to be it was a normally open is the style of switch you need, because I tried using a normally closed and I spent about an hour and a half figuring that one out. But the other thing I also made was all these vinyl stickers. I just did this real quick with the Cricut cutter. As you can see, they come out real nice. I also made some. You can also do regular stickers with it too. You just find an image, print it, and then it puts registration marks, and then it allows the Cricut to cut the outline out for you. So I believe the other thing I did that wasn't on my last update is I put these lights in. So I used I believe it was a styrene tube that I plated over and then drilled through. So this sits and floats independent of everything, just like the others. And then I also did in the Taco Bell, and they're actually these lights actually came out are a yellow, whereas these are more bluish, which is fine. Just a different contrast between the two. But not much else. I just been doing maintenance on this. Oh, I also built a narrow gauge cleaning car just out of scrap plastic and scrap trucks, and it just slides on like this, and then I just use a weight on the top, and then this just I pull around. It works pretty good. It didn't cost me anything. And I just use, it's only got one coupler on it just so I can tow it behind. Just one last thing. I've watched other videos of people using this on their track, and I used it on the narrow gauge, and it made a huge improvement. Just the one thing about it is just real thin coats and then kind of rub it and wipe it off. But it made a noticeable difference in the running of my train, so I definitely recommend going out. And I think I got this at Home Depot. So any questions, just let me know.